Thank you guys so much for having me today. It's been so fun. The YSBnow house is beautiful. Of course, the trampoline and the slide. My first question for you is, what got this started? What inspired you?
Colleen and I started at different magazines when we were teenagers, then eventually kind of came together and started working at Popstar magazine together. When we started YSBnow, it was kind of just because we had our own vision and this brand that we wanted to create that was about like empowering young women and making them feel good.
Our background was in teen magazines, and so we sort of watched firsthand as social media and digital apps and able to Photoshop and all those kinds of things really started to gain traction and become like omnipresent in teen girls' lives, teen boys as well. We were really inspired to sort of create something that was empowering and positive and something that you'd look at and feel connected to it and feel better about yourself and about the world versus feeling like, oh, I don't look like that, or look at their life, it's so cool and mine isn't. We'd been doing celebrity interviews. For me, it was about 15 years. Natasha, I would say about 10 years. Yeah. We'd meet these really interesting actors and artists with such incredible journeys and stories, but because of the subject matter of the brands that we came from prior, the subject matter of our interviews was kind of limited to like, well, who's your celebrity crush? You know, and we would have such amazing conversations, but it just wasn't the vibe of the brands that we were at.
Well, that's so inspiring. I love the whole idea of the female empowerment starting that young. What is YSBnow and the YSBnow brand all about?
YSBnow obviously stands for You're So Beautiful Now. Not when you get a boyfriend, not when you lose a certain amount of weight, not when you get the right makeup, but like right now in who you are. So it kind of just means finding yourself and being comfortable with yourself and embracing that, and that can be really hard when you're a teenage girl, especially in this kind of social media driven world. So it's just all about loving yourself and knowing that you're beautiful like right now, no matter what anyone else says.
Everything about you is beautiful. Your dreams are beautiful. Your ambitions are beautiful. You know, it's not just what you see when you look in a mirror.
Your stories are beautiful too, and you know the experiences you've gone through, and the celebrities that we talk to, like their stories are so beautiful, and it's nice to share that with the kids.
A lot of kids out there just feel alone in whatever they're going through. I think that people just want to show like everything's perfect and everything's the best, and you know, if there's an issue or anything like that, like what's wrong with you? So like for me, when I was 15, my brother was killed in a car accident, and shortly before that, my other brother was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So I was in high school, and it was like, you know, everyone's trying to show this like perfect image of themselves. It's so important to tell the stories that are real, so that when somebody comes to YSBnow, like they don't feel so alone in whatever they're going through.
What Colleen and I talk about all the time is that we want to be like big sisters to the readers and our viewers. We kind of want it to be like you're hanging out with us when we're in a live stream and with a celebrity. And for me in high school, I loved the Jonas Brothers, but nobody else in my high school liked them, and like that was not cool. I was into Disney Channel and Hannah Montana, and that was always like, oh, I bet you're listening to Hannah Montana. I'm like, yeah, I am. But I was never like that. I was always like, oh, no, I'm not. But I was. And I would go to the concerts, and I loved, you know, like this pop culture, and but nobody ever did, so I kind of felt alone in that. We want to be their friends that love these pop stars, and we want to be like the big sisters to them.
We celebrate being weird. We celebrate being quirky. We're totally weird people, if you hadn't noticed. It's our differences that make us beautiful, if that makes sense. Because if everybody was the same, it's kind of boring that way. But when you celebrate diversity and you celebrate everything that there is to celebrate in life and all your differences, that's, I think, where you find the beauty in things.
Also, something I think that we celebrate is kind of just like how you're feeling right now. Sometimes we'll do these interviews where it's like talking about a really intense story or some like a story that needs to be shared, and then sometimes it's like where we just like eat Fruit Loops and just like chat about life. And so I think that that's really special about YSBnow too, is that we just kind of celebrate what's going on right now and you know what you're feeling.
Throughout this journey of creating the YSBnow brand, what has been your favorite moment and what have you learned?
Carson Leader's birthday party, where we threw a surprise birthday party for one of our favorite kids who we work with all the time, and it's awesome because his friends just showed up. Or Rydell's tea party, where we had all these celebrities show up and we just had an awesome time, and like it's kind of stuff like that. Some of our favorite moments are at the end of interviews when like the publicist or the mom or the talent will say like, that was one of my favorite interviews, because it's things the kids don't get to talk about a lot. You know, it's things where like Kira Cossarin got to talk about getting into Stanford, and she was like, no one's ever asked me about that, which is like a huge accomplishment.
What we kind of fight for and want to show on the site is what happens in real life too. Like, for example, we got like verified on Twitter and Facebook, and like maybe for some people they'd be like, oh, the day we got verified, that was the best day, you know? Yeah. But for us, it's about like those moments where like you can tell somebody's story, and I'm gonna get like emotional for a second, but like we had Jordan Dow here who is gay, and he's a comedian, and he's incredible, and he just like opened up and shared his journey with us, and it was so powerful, and like you just can't help but think about all the people like that are going to watch this, and it's going to help them. One of the biggest compliments we can get is like when a parent or an older person says something like, I wish I had this site when I was the age of a teenager, because you're sharing so many important stories, and it's just making an impact, and it means something in a time where it doesn't seem like there's a lot of meaningful stuff in the media.
With Primal branding and the community that you've created, do you think you would have been able to kind of figure out this whole thing by yourself?
No, definitely not. Like, I think that because we're so passionate about what we're doing, how do we get all that passion and make a plan? Organize it. And so what Primal branding really did was enable us to kind of go in these 7 different pieces and know what we are, and really give us a really strong vision of everything that we want to be. Anybody could have a website, anybody could have a blog, anybody could have a YouTube channel. So it's really just being able to exactly hone in on specifically what you want to do and build something that's a mile deep and like an inch wide, versus building something that is like a mile wide and an inch deep.
We had a bunch of meetings in the beginning of kind of finding our brand and using that Primal code. We knew what we wanted this to be in the beginning, but that completely helped us take it to the next level and like really flesh it out so that our whole team like understood and was on the same page.
All the different pieces of code are tremendously important. I think one that really stuck with us the most was probably the non-believer concept. There's times where you get a little bummed out because we came from a place where this publication was sold in 74 countries. We had built the YouTube channel to almost 400 million views, and then we're starting from zero, and you have people who just don't get it or don't believe in it or just stop returning our phone calls. That's important because that keeps pushing you to say, you know what, we're going to get there, and you'll see.
The Primal code and the Primal branding like helps so much because it breaks it down, and like for me going into it, I was like, I can do this, and I know what I need to do, and I know what we need to do, and so it helped tremendously for us, for sure.
Well, you guys, first off, are so inspiring. Oh my gosh. Where is You're So Beautiful Now going from here with Primal branding?
YSBnow is such a universal, amazing message, and it's positive, and there's so many things we can do with it. We want to do YSBnow camp, YSBnow empowerment workshops, YSBnow like merchandising, because how amazing would it be to be wearing a necklace that said YSBnow, and anytime anybody goes, oh, what does that stand for? You say, you're so beautiful now.
People write YSB, and that's the new LOL. I want it to be like that universal.
Maybe even get an emoji. You know, unscripted content, scripted content, YSBnow record label, YSBnow tours, YSBnow camp. It'll be dark out by the time that we finish talking about all the things that we want to do with YSBnow.
You guys are so beautiful now. Just hearing the things that you're saying, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. I think that I speak for a lot of women, young men, that what you do and the work that you put in and what you show, things that you ask these celebrities and these pop icons is really inspiring, and you're really bringing a whole new element to popular culture.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So cool. Thank you. That's a huge compliment.
Thank you so much for coming by today.
Of course.
So much fun. I know you're a big fan of YSBnow and our live streams, so I figure you can actually take them out with us, how we do with all the celebs. So on the count of 3, you want to do it, guys?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
You're so beautiful now.